Hi, Saloni and Sachin. Welcome to HR Success Talk,
My
and
pleasure.
let's move ahead with our discussions. So today we'll be trying to uncover more about the emotional intelligence and how this can help the leadership roles, how this can help a common person to take it out into their day-to-day lives. Okay. So we'll talk about these topics, and I hope that you guys can throw more light into more simpler ways than the emotional intelligence concepts comes across. So my first question to both of you is like, why emotional intelligence matters in the workplace? Or why do you think that it is so significant?
So I believe that organizations today have realized that IQ alone is not a great predictor, of any individual's performance or success. And when an individual has not developed their emotional intelligence, these are people who tend to get stopped by setbacks. They can't get past, the kinds of situations or they face, or they maybe struggle past, for a very long time. These are also people who are, they're prone to react negatively to, let's say, other people could be involved, and which also kind of impacts relationships, which probably just comes in the way of productivity and, probably even animosity. We've heard of how, arguments at the workplace have led to, bigger, issues. So these are so people may take personally things that are not meant to be taken, and sometimes people also feel like a victim. So organizations today realize this vis-a-vis someone who is highly developed on emotional intelligence. They may still face these types of situations like everyone else, yet the way they react will be different. They'll be able to they're able to stop and also analyze what are they really feeling, and then to understand how those feelings are impacting their behavior and their choices. So with this knowledge of how people with EI or those who are not highly developed in emotional intelligence skills, today it is very imperative to have emotional intelligence at the workplace. It's also one of the highlighted skills as per the World Economic Forum. So an apt topic for us today to be talking about it.
Um, what Saloni said, I agree with that, and I would like to complement it with an example rather than adding more to it. This reminded me of an incident that happened a couple of years ago. Um, we were preparing for an invisible leadership retreat that we do. Um, One of my friends who owns a branding and marketing agency. So he's been talking to me about one of his employees, which he has been having very troubled work relationship with. So they haven't been able to work very well together. Although this employee has been there for several years with him. So he wasn't really sure what to do because he didn't want to fire her, but at the same time, they were not able to work together very well. So things were going really south. And he asked me that, how we can resolve this and all that. So he was coming to this retreat anyway. He signed up to come to this retreat. And I told him, I said, how about you come there and we'll discuss. We'll figure out what needs to be done. So second day, it's a 3-day retreat. On second day, we do something called a trust track, where how we do it is it's done in a pair. One person is blindfolded, and the other person is supposed to guide that person on the track. So this friend of mine, he was blindfolded, and then another person was helping him to track it. So it's kind of a medium difficulty track. It's not an easy one, and it's not very difficult also. A medium difficulty track, about let's say about 1.5 kilometer long, something like that. So when we reached the hilltop where this track finishes, this guy, my friend, he just broke into tears, um, and I wasn't sure. I don't know whether he hurt himself on the track or what happened. So I asked him. I said, "Well, what happened? Why are you crying?" And he had tears coming down. It wasn't like loudly crying or something, but looked emotional. Very clearly looked emotional, and his eyes were teary and all that. He said, what happened? He said, today by putting the blindfold on my eyes, you actually opened my eyes. Um, I said, meaning? And he said, this lady I have been having problem with, I haven't been sharing any details with them. I've been keeping them in so much darkness. Like I'm the owner of the company, so I only share whatever I need to share and things like that. I expect them to perform. I expect them to deliver results, whereas I haven't been sharing much. And today I could not even walk two steps without the other person telling me each and everything in detail. And there's a rock in front of me, left, right, how much foot you need to uplift and things like that. He said, like, I couldn't move two steps without the help of this person. And I've been asking my team, and especially this lady, to deliver so much by like kind of a virtual or a digital blindfold on her eye. And he was just so emotional and connected with it. And I thought that that's the power of emotional intelligence, the kind of empathy that you develop, the kind of self-awareness that you develop, and how you connect. And it definitely improved the work relationship between the two. He didn't fire her. He clearly noted that there was no point firing her, because the problem was not her. If he would fire her and hire another person, he would just repeat the same mistake with the other person also. So I think that kind of impacted uh, in a positive way in his business. This realization that he had.
Beautiful share. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Thank you.
interesting. And whatever you spoke, Saloni, that was interesting too. Because whenever the self-awareness happens, so instead of reacting, you respond. That's what I felt. And Sachin, with your story, we keep on looking forward to change the entire world situation around us, though the change required is in us.
Correct. Correct. And
So,
especially as top leaders or business owners or high level, we often kind of try to find problem with our team or at a lower level only. We don't self-reflect and see that, is there any problem in the way I'm dealing. So that's important as well.
right. So with this, let's move ahead to the second topic that we'll be discussing today. So can you guys share any case study where you think that emotional intelligence has impacted the business and it has impacted into a positive way actually?
Yeah, there was this study. This was done by Martin at MetLife, and what they discovered was it's a detailed study. What they discovered was that they had hired these sales agents, for selling insurance. So what they discovered that those with very high emotional intelligence also had very high levels of optimism. And it in this sense, they were referring to the ability to handle, let's say, setbacks or rejections. Because see, when as a sales agent you go out and you want to sell insurance, you will really have to meet number of people before you finally get a yes as an answer. So what he discovered was that the optimists, the ones who had this ability, they were able to look at a roadblock as something external to them, and it was temporary. And while the others who were, let's say, pessimists, they were viewing it as being caused by some internal flaw within them, as if like, I'm not good enough or I can't do it. And therefore, and also that this is something which is permanent. So internal flaw and permanent, and external, like I said, it's a, uh, the rejection is external to them. It is not personal, and also it is temporary. So when the group of researchers went out, they were able to correlate that people who had high emotional intelligence, right, who showed high levels of optimism, they also sold more insurance in the first 2 years. Furthermore, the company hired even more group of new salespeople, and these people were failing the normal job screening tests, but they were really high on the optimism scale. So clearly, in the form of emotional intelligence, in the form of optimism was, let me put it this way, predicting performance, than the traditional intelligent tests that the company had been using. And then, of course, there were other similar results also. And I'm sure we'll hear of some more examples. But there were many other case studies too in which emotional intelligence, the test of emotional intelligence, the presence of emotional intelligence leading to bigger and higher beneficial impacts for the organizations was clearly visible. So this is
Thanks. I can share one example from personal experience only. So from one of our clients. So I'll talk about that, but I won't disclose the name of the client and all that. Um, Once again, we were doing an invisible leadership retreat with the top leadership in this company. So this is a Dutch MNC, and one of the things that we share with them is the power of non-interference. So after the retreat finished, 2 months later, we went back in there to see how they have implemented what they have learned. And this is an example. What I'm sharing is in on the side of self-regulation that we cover in the components that emotional intelligence cover. So the IT head of that company, he mentioned, and all the participants were there. The CEO of the company was there as well. And this incident came up, and CEO also didn't know that this has actually happened. He was hearing it first time also. So the IT head said that a few days back, something very big happened. Someone accidentally deleted the whole database, and this was an incident that would roll heads. Um, and this has never happened in our company before. And it is something which definitely requires a lot of panic and all that. He said, I remembered what we covered in Invisible Leadership, and I came back and I personally took this decision that I'm not going to interfere. I'm not going to come in between my team. I have selected this team. I have interviewed them. I have good faith that they are very intelligent people, and I'm going to let them drive this. I'm going to let them fix this. But usually, in any other scenario, I would have jumped in and I would have started interfering. They said, I actually 5 o'clock, I shut down my laptop and I didn't even take my laptop with me home because otherwise I would have kept checking it. So I left my work phone at work, and I also left my laptop at work. Only my personal number was there in case something really urgent they need me. I said nobody called me. It was expected that this incident could take at least a week. My team solved it in 2 days. The room that I gave them, the trust that I showed them that you can actually solve this, they stayed up all night. For 2 days, my team didn't even go home. And I didn't even ask them to do that. They just didn't go home. They were so, they felt so much trusted in this whole process that I'm not breathing down their neck. And he said that it required so much self-regulation on my side to actually not check up on them and not call them and interfere and all that. He said all this actually was the worst 2 days in my life, but the outcome was just brilliant that I observed. And this took the trust level in the team to a new level altogether. He's always known that people are very skillful in my team. I have selected them and all that. But knowing all that, he was still interfering. And when he consciously stepped back, held himself back, he was showed his regulation around this incident. Yeah, the team dynamics changed very much, very different now, and people take more ownership and responsibility now because they know that they are trusted.
wonderful. Wonderful. Clearly a space where a leader gives space to his team to do what is necessary,
Yes,
without the leader's presence.
yes, yes,
Very important.
Well, Saloni, with your discussion, what I understood this time was like if somebody has decided to stay happy or maybe the value of optimism is there within them, you don't need an external motivation to make them work. And Sachin, with yours, the another aspect that came across, the sense of ownership can be inculcated into the team if we can self-regulate, not to interfere with them. Okay. And self-regulation can start with ourselves. Let's say I have a habit of checking my phone every 5 minutes. So it will be difficult to breathe without it. Okay. Though I went for a trip, I didn't take my phone almost for a week. So it's like you need a lot of self-control, specifically into this case, to stay and to avoid yourself coming into the picture.
Wow, that's really something.
Yeah.